Hello YouTube and welcome to Prime Productions. I'm here to help enhance your tabletop gaming experience. If you're new to this channel, I primarily cover Paizo tabletop role-playing games like Pathfinder and Starfinder. So you've seen the title of this video, you know what it's about. Yes, today we're making a Dragon Ball Z style character in the new, as of the posting of this video, Starfinder 2nd Edition playtest. Now, if you've been a fan of this channel for a while, you may remember that I made a Dragon Ball Z style character for Pathfinder 2nd Edition back when Kineticist was still a new class. Anyway, now I'm better at making videos, I hope, and we have a whole new book of Starfinder content here, so let's see what we can do with that. I thought we could take this opportunity to make a Dragon Ball Z style character and show off the new Starfinder playtest Solarian Class at the same time while having some fun. First, if you aren't familiar with Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z, they are Japanese anime involving martial artists that can harness their spiritual energy to fly, shoot energy beams, and do a bunch of other crazy stuff. It gets pretty nuts, with people able to occasionally blow up planets in the series. Don't worry though, you don't need to be a fan of Dragon Ball to understand this video. Anyway, the whole blowing up planets thing is actually a good place to start. Yes, in Dragon Ball Z, characters can casually blow up planets even as far back as the early parts of the show, and that's just not possible in Pathfinder or Starfinder, even at level 20. So let's just set the ground rules. This build will have similar abilities to Dragon Ball Z characters, but not on the same scale of power. So, as always, when making characters in Pathfinder or Starfinder 2nd Edition, we follow the ABCs of character creation, and A stands for Ancestry. Now, I know all of you probably want me to make Goku the main character in Dragon Ball Z, but see, he's actually an alien species called a Saiyan. And sadly, there are no Saiyan aliens in Starfinder. We could make one of the human characters in the series, like Yamcha, but I already made a human Starfinder character, so this time, just for variety's sake, let's use the new Starfinder android rules to make an android character, such as Android 16 from the Cell Saga of Dragon Ball Z. Now, if you aren't familiar with the Cell Saga, just know that this behemoth here is Android 16, and like all fighters in Dragon Ball Z, he's super tough, super strong, can fly, and can shoot energy beams. However, the ancestry doesn't really matter too much for this build, so if you wanted to make your Starfinder character based on a different Dragon Ball Z character, go nuts. All you have to do is change up the ancestry. So, starting off, androids get a one-time bonus of 8 extra HP. They also get some attribute adjustments, but they don't really lend themselves to the build I'm going for, so let's ditch them for the alternate rules of just 2 boosts and no flaws, and let's start with Strength and Constitution. Androids also get low light vision and the Constructed ability, which gives them a +1 bonus to saves versus diseases, poisons, and radiation. They do, however, have a downside called Emotionally Unaware. This gives them a -1 penalty to certain social checks. For the heritage, I'm going to take Ancient Android for Laborer. This gives Android 16 the Athletic skill and the Hefty Hauler skill feat. And, I mean, just look at him. Dude looks like he was built to work construction. For the Ancestry feat, let's grab Emotionless. This gives a +1 bonus to saves versus emotion effects, and all successful saves against emotion effects count as critical successes. Next up, B is for Background, and for Android 16, let's grab Cyberborn, which means that he's constantly being upgraded with cybernetics, which works pretty well for Android 16's backstory. This nets us a boost to Strength or Constitution and a free ability boost, and we actually want both of those attributes, so there we go. It also grants the Crafting skill, the Augmentation lore skill, and the new Augmented Body skill feat. This new skill feat gives us a free level 1 augmentation, and we can use that to pick up commercial dermal plating. This is crazy, as it gives us a resistance 1 to piercing, slashing, and bludgeoning damage. Pretty great. We can also upgrade it as we gain levels. Next up, C is for Class, and like I said before, we are going Solarian. This 10 HP per level class with a strength boost is perfect for a Dragon Ball Z style character because it gives us everything we need to live out our power fantasy if we just think about it. Now, Solarians are a bit complicated. I covered them in my Starfinder playtest classes video. You can check it out here, but here's the quick version of how they work. When initiative is rolled, they get 3 things. They can manifest a weapon, they can manifest something called a solar flare that lets them shoot energy beams, and they get a kind of energy armor that gives them a reaction if they're hit in melee combat. Now, the melee weapon can be anything, and the player can choose 2 of these traits on screen here for it to have. Also, you can change up what kind of weapon it is with 10 minutes of meditation, but I think our default weapon should be a freehand grapple bludgeoning weapon with the brawling group, and we can just reflavor it as martial arts attacks. This will give us a hard-hitting martial arts-like strike and the ability to shoot energy beams from our solar flare class feature, so we are well on our way to being a Dragon Ball Z character. Oh, and yes, solar flare is something that also exists in Dragon Ball Z, but we're using it here to be our generic energy attack. For the subclass, I think we should go Degradant Solarian because eventually at level 9 it gives us the ability to fly unaided, like without a jetpack or anything. Also, starting at level 1, a Degradant Solarian can explode into a black hole, dealing damage to everyone around them. Degradant Solarian also means we're trained in Deception or Intimidation. Yeah, so that's going to be Intimidation. Also all Solarians get trained in Athletics, but since we're already trained in Athletics from being a labor android, we get to choose a new skill. Also, all Solarians get to choose an additional 3 skills to be trained in, plus their Intelligence modifier, but Android 16 will end up having a +0 modifier at level 1. Let's go with Computers, Acrobatics, Survival, and finally Nature because Android 16 likes birds. Yes, even in the original anime he liked birds. That wasn't solely the invention of the Team 4-star parody series. Anyway, all that's left for the class is to pick our first level class feat, and yeah, it's gotta be Stellar Rush. This 2-action activity helps us close the gap to get into melee combat. Also, Solarians get a bunch of other stuff. I'll put that on screen for you now. And finally, all characters at level 1 get a boost to 4 different attributes. Let's go with Strength, Dexterity, Constitution, and Wisdom. For equipment, Android 16 won't need much to start off with. We basically just need some medium armor like freebooter armor, and we can just assume that the green stuff in the anime is armor. As he levels up, we'll need a Solarian Crystal, which are kind of like weapon runes for Solarian weapons. He'll also need some new armor as he levels up, and maybe get some new or upgrade his existing augmentations. And to finish off this video, let's level him up to level 5 really quick. At level 2, he gets a skill feat and class feat. For the skill feat, let's grab Intimidating Glare because, look at him. For his class feat, let's grab Shattering Impact, which lets us hit really hard with our solar weapon, increasing our damage die by 1 step. But afterwards we become unattuned and lose our solar manifestation, so we have to spend an action getting them out again. At level 3 we get a general feat, a class feature called Indomitable Body and Mind, and a skill increase. For our general feat I might grab Fleet just so that our android is faster. Indomitable Body and Mind just increases our Fortitude save to Expert, and whenever we make a certain saving throw, we can change our Solarian attunement, which is something I didn't talk about but did talk about in the class video. As for our skill increase, it's probably Athletics. Android 16 does appear to be big into grappling. Moving on to level 4, we get another skill feat and class feat. For our skill feat, let's keep going down the rabbit hole of grappling and grab Titan Wrestler. For our class feat, there's a fun one called Plasma Ejection that lets us either make an energy blast line attack or an explosion all around us. And we'll end today at level 5. Android 16 gets another Ancestry feat. Let's go with Nanite Surge, which lets us once an hour give ourselves a +2 bonus to a skill, so that can help us with grappling. He also gets a boost to 4 more attributes. Let's go with Strength, Constitution, Intelligence, and Wisdom. Because his intelligence increases, we can grab another skill, maybe Society? We also get a skill increase. Let's go with Intimidation, and finally we get Solarian Weapon Expertise, which is that thing where Solarians get unarmed attacks and simple and martial weapons up to Expert. Also, solar weapons get their critical specialization effect. And that's it. How do you like this build for a Dragon Ball Z style character in the Starfinder playtest? What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. And while you're down there, make sure to like and subscribe. That tells both me and YouTube that you like this kind of content and would like to see more. And until next time, thank you, Good luck, and happy gaming!